Hi there, it's Emmy Golding here. So, the news headline from Sydney, Australia today is that as of today, Monday, the 18th of October, if you go into a pub or a bar in Sydney, you are now allowed, wait for it, you are now allowed to stand up while having that drink. But only if you're vaccinated, of course, because unvaccinated people are not allowed in a bar or a pub at all. So, I won't even go into the issue of segregation here. That's a topic for another day. But I just have to say that I don't think I've ever heard anything quite so ridiculous. Thank you, government, for now allowing me to stand up instead of sit down. I'm so glad that you're looking after my physical health in this way. I never knew standing on my own 2 feet could be so dangerous. But I'm so glad that you're keeping an eye on everything and letting me know when the coast is clear. Obviously, you're not considering my mental health when you make these decisions about me and my life, though. But never in my life did I think that I would be told by my government when I could stand up or sit down. It's like some ridiculous game of Simon Says. Simon says, stand up, sit down, stay home, go out, mask up, mask down, 5 kilometers, 1 kilometer. Now you can sing, now you can't. Now you can dance, now you can't. Talk about controlling. By the way, what's the line between talking and singing? And what's the line between walking and dancing? What if you wiggle your hips a little bit? I mean, come on. But either way, please give me permission and tell me what I'm allowed to do this week. It's insane. And I shouldn't be surprised after the last 18 months where we've seen so many ridiculous rules, rules that contradict each other, rules that are just illogical, and rules that are lacking in basic humanity and compassion. But here we are. Why are we now allowed to stand up? Because 80% of the population have been well behaved, good little boys and girls and have done what they're told, who've behaved in the way that the government determined was the appropriate way to behave. And by the way, I'm not talking about the pros and cons of getting the vaccine or even whether you've had it or not. I'm talking about the attitude of the politicians and the government who are taking such a controlling and paternalistic approach, treating us like children and giving us rewards and punishments for behavior that they consider to be good or bad. By the way, does this sound like any other countries that you can think of? How condescending is it? Now, what's the psychology of all of this from a mental health perspective? Well, we know from the research that an essential ingredient for mental health and well-being is the ability to make our own choices in our own lives. It's called self-determination. And it's known that that's essential for well-being. Even people with extreme mental health issues to the point of being in and out of hospital, they only recover when they're permitted to make decisions about their own treatment and their own lives. Whether or not that's in accordance with the recommendations by the doctors, by the way. Without that ability to make decisions in our own lives, we're effectively slaves and we're just told to live our life doing what someone else says. And we do that as children because at that stage we don't have the capacity to weigh all the information and make a decision. But as free and independent adults, we are allowed to make our own decisions. Actually, allowed isn't even the right word. We have a right to, even if that's not in line with what someone else would do. Anyway, it's crazy times we live in, sad times. It's got to end sooner or later. But in the meantime, I guess it's about how do we look after ourselves and our own well-being through all of this. Having a sense of humor is a great start. Sometimes you have to see just the absurdness of it all and you have to laugh, otherwise you'd cry. But also keep standing up and fighting for every little freedom because who knows where this ends. Never did I think we would be dictated to whether we could stand up and sit down. But there you go. That's the state of the world today. Anyway, hope you find something good to focus on for your day and see you next time.